Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jana LaFave. I'm the third grade teacher here at Christian Elementary West, and I'm so looking forward to having your child in my class this year. I'm really looking forward to it, and just know that I have been praying for them. I've been praying for you and our school as we head into what could be a different year, but I am just praying that it's a wonderful year as we follow God's leading. So let me just give you a little bit of background information on myself. This will be my 8th year here at Christian Elementary. 7 of those years have been teaching third grade, so that's really just my favorite grade. I've taught older grades too, but third grade is really my favorite. I just love to see the growth in each of the students. They just learn so much, and they are so eager to show what they know. So it's always a fun year. We have lots to cover in third grade. It's really one of the more pivotal years as they kind of bridge from those lower elementary grades and get ready for the upper elementary grades. So it will be an exciting year. I just want to let you know, first off, communication is so important between parents and teacher. So please, 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 when you have questions, let me know. I'd be very happy to help you with whatever I can. I will send home a newsletter in your child's blue communication folder each week, and I will also email that so you're up to date on any announcements and homework assignments and that sort of thing. So please watch for emails from me, and that's really the chief way that I express information. So please just be on the lookout for those. I know sometimes it gets overwhelming, especially at the beginning of the year. So, but just know that there is a weekly newsletter that will be going home with all the important information for the week. Also, we do have plans in place for distance learning should that be an issue, and we already have everything ready to go. So that shouldn't be too difficult should we need to do that. So I'll get the kids accustomed to Google Classroom as soon as I can once they're here in the classroom, so we won't have such a learning curve for that. Okay, so let's just go through the subjects. I will be sending home a packet for this information in a little bit more detail, but I'm just trying to keep this video a little bit concise. So after reading that packet, if you have questions, just let me know. So let me just go over some of the expectations for third grade and some of the subjects that we'll be teaching. So Bible, we do have Bible every day, as well as a chapel program every week. So we typically don't do a Bible lesson on chapel days, but the rest of the days we do. And our Bible curriculum goes through the life of Christ, so we get to see a lot of his miracles, his death, his resurrection, and then his life expressed through the early church. So we get to study about the disciples and a lot about the life of Paul. So it is very exciting for the kids. They love reading from the Bible themselves and knowing that they can understand it and that God's Word applies to them. So it's pretty awesome. For reading, it's such a pivotal year. The third graders usually are no longer learning to read. They've got that under their belt, and now they're using reading as a tool to learn. So it is very exciting to have them be reading out of their science book and their history book and all sorts of genres. So we typically use the Bob Jones University anthology, where there are a lot of selections of stories, all kinds of genres, and a lot of activities, and it also reviews phonics with them. And we also have some short novels, some short chapter books that we'll be doing book studies with as well. And we are not doing AR this year, so for the independent reading, I'm still requiring 60 minutes a week for my third graders to do with independent reading at home. And that can be divided up in any way that you and your family choose, as long as it's 60 minutes a week. And I've changed the reading logs a little bit, so the kids will be choosing an activity to do with their reading. And then when they've finished a book, instead of taking an AR test or an AR quiz, they can give a book talk to the rest of us just to let us know about the book, whether they liked it or not, and some of the important things that they found in the book. So we'll be doing that instead of AR. So that independent reading is very important. I would like the children to have a book in class at all times and a book at home at all times, so that that independent reading really comes into place. It's such an important skill for helping them to become better readers. So our reading, we will work a lot on comprehension strategies as well as fluency in our oral reading, but the comprehension strategies are a big part of third grade, helping the children to comprehend even more difficult passages. So that's always fun to teach them about drawing conclusions and making predictions and all the things that they can do to enhance their reading. So it is pretty fun. We also will be having weekly vocabulary lists that the words come from the readings that they do each week. And we'll talk about the vocabulary words and practice with them in class, but they'll also have a vocabulary list to study at home. And they don't have to memorize the definitions, they just have to be able to match the definition with the correct word and use the word, roughly based on what it means in a sentence. The sentence is provided for them. So the quizzes are not difficult as long as the kids have studied. So I won't start those right away, and I'll let you know when that's being introduced. What was I going to say about that? On 4-day weeks or 3-day weeks, anything that's not a regular 5-day week, I will not have a vocabulary list. So you can just be looking for that in the future. So for math, we use the Bob Jones University math text, and we go through all the typical third grade concepts for math. Start with a lot of review, and then we'll be ending even with long division. So they cover a lot in third grade. And let me just give you a tip on how to help your child succeed in math. Those math facts that they've been studying in first and second grade with addition and subtraction are super important. They should no longer be adding on their fingers, subtracting on their fingers. They really need to learn those to automaticity to really help them. So we'll be starting off soon with some timed quizzes on addition and subtraction facts. So flashcards, math apps, whatever you can do to help your child to increase in accuracy and speed on those so that we know those facts are memorized would be extremely helpful. In a few months, we'll be starting with multiplication, and I'll be teaching strategies and concepts of multiplication, and we'll be working a little bit on memorization, but then we've got to move on to the other concepts. So that memorization at home is super, super important. So I've taught kids in older grades, and when they didn't have their math facts memorized, they just really struggled because it's such a foundational concept that they really need to have that in place. So if you could help me out and drilling with the kids, that would be awesome. So we'll be having timed quizzes on multiplication facts later on in the year, and I will announce that so that the kids are prepared for that. We also started a program last year, IXL, and it has multiple subjects that are associated with it, but we do use that for math frequently. There may be homework assignments on IXL as well, so you'll get all the login information for that upcoming soon. So for history and science, I like to do those a quarter at a time so that we can devote more class time to each subject. So I do history in quarters 1 and 3 and science in quarters 2 and 4. And we do cover the whole program. We just kind of consolidate it with larger class periods so we can do it in 2 quarters. So history, the kids will be learning about America's beginnings all the way from colonization to the Civil War. So they cover a lot of information and some really interesting topics of discussion come up because we talk about how America had its beginnings and how people had to compromise and really that the land had originally belonged to Native Americans and we talk about slavery and all the things that America as a new country had to go through. So it's a very fascinating time period for the kids to study. They really enjoy that. For science, we will be studying physical and life sciences, and we'll cover lots of topics. We'll try to get some hands-on experiences as much as possible, and to make that exciting for the kids. So science is always a fun topic for the kids. They like to discuss what they know, and they have so much experience already, so it's always really fun. So for the language arts, for grammar, writing, spelling, grammar we go through, we study the rules for English language and all the parts of speech and how those come together in sentences and paragraphs and all the rules that go with grammar. We will have weekly spelling tests, so there will be a weekly list. We'll practice with those words in class as well as part of homework, and we have a spelling test every Friday. For writing, I really try to push that as an important skill in third grade. It's such an important tool for them, and it is a very pivotal year getting them ready for the upper grades. Sorry, my lights just turned out. Okay, there we go. So, so they'll be working with some more casual writing in their journals, just going with some creative prompts just to get those creative juices flowing. But they also will be working on a consistent 6-sentence paragraph, narratives, descriptions, essays, research paper. So we'll be doing a lot of writing there and trying to help the child to see that their voice is expressed, that it's their type of, it's their choice of words and organization, and that it can be such a creative outlet for them. So it's fun. So for homework, typically we assign homework on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I usually do not assign homework on Wednesday or Friday unless there's some unfinished classwork that needs to be finished. I'll send that home. But Wednesday is typically a church night, so we don't often assign homework on those days. As I mentioned before, I will require 60 minutes of independent reading. They do not have to be done on those specific homework nights. On the newsletter, on the homework assignments, I'll divide it up, 20 minutes on Monday, 20 minutes on Tuesday and Thursday. But you and your child can figure out what works best for you. If they're such a reader and they want to read all 60 and on Monday, that's fine. If they want to read over the weekend for their 60 minutes, that's fine too. So you can just work that out with your family. So typically we'll have independent reading, spelling work, memory verse work, and a math page and math facts drill. And as I mentioned before, a vocabulary list as well. So homework is due the following day. If it is a problem, just email me, hey, something came up tonight. We'll turn it in the next day, that's fine. So, but the math especially, because we'll do our lesson, and then that night's homework is review of that concept. So, and then we grade it in class to see if we have any issues that we need to go back and look at. So the math really is important, but the spelling and the memory verse, if that is all done on Monday and they don't do it on Thursday because they did it on Monday, that's all fine. But it's the math homework that really should be done each and every night. So again, if there is a problem with homework, just email me, turn it in the next day. That would be fine. So one other thing that the kids learn, and they're always so excited, is in third grade we learn cursive. And I know not a lot of schools do that anymore, but our school really feels like that's an important concept for them to learn, and the kids really do love it. They have a good time with it. We use Janelian, also known as modern cursive. So if you're looking for some other resources, that's the type of cursive that we learn. And so we'll be going through each of the letters and work on connecting the letters that they know into words, and we'll do some practice with that each week. And then my goal is by somewhere in the middle to end of third quarter that they are using cursive exclusively to write, and they find that it is a lot faster to connect all of their letters. But and then when they pass the cursive test, I give them their California cursive license, and that's a big deal in third grade. So and also we cover art, and we'll be covering just different elements of art and get the kids familiar with the the art vocabulary and identifying different parts or different elements of art in different pieces and focusing on that to make their own creations as well. So that's always really fun. So, looking forward to a wonderful year. On Thursday, uh, we'll be having sign up slots to come meet the teacher. So, please bring the supplies, and the kids can find their desks, set up their supplies, and we can have a chat. So, if you have any questions, then I'd be happy to answer them. And again, so you will be getting a hard packet of this back to school night packet. So if you have any questions, let me know. Just know that I'm praying for you and your children, and I'm so looking forward to all God has for us this year. Take care.